Welcome to Tell Me More Stories Told Us podcast. Get ready for a bit of an adventure today because we're diving deep, really deep into the story of Keira Knightley.
That's right. We're talking about the acclaimed English actress, and we've got quite a lot to unpack here, looking at her journey, from the very beginning, her early dreams, right up to where she is now.
A really respected figure in film and theater, too.
Absolutely. So we'll be hitting the key moments, maybe some surprising facts, definitely some unique situations that shaped her whole story.
Yeah, expect a few aha moments, I think, as we get into the layers of Keira Knightley's life. So where does this whole adventure begin?
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. March 26, 1985, Teddington, London. That's where Keira Christina Knightley was born.
And her parents, they were already in the business, weren't they? Will Knightley and Charmin McDonald.
Stage actors, both of them. So, yeah, you can imagine a pretty creative household from day one.
Definitely sets a scene.
And here's a little quirk right off the bat, her name. They actually wanted to call her Keira.
Oh, with an IE.
Exactly. After the Soviet figure skater, Keira Ivanova, her dad was apparently a big fan.
Okay, interesting inspiration.
But then, well, her mom was filling out the birth certificate, and she misspelled it, put the E before the I.
No way.
Hmm.
So that's how she became Keira. Just a spelling mistake.
Pretty much. Now, talk about an unexpected start, right?
That's amazing. And her family background.
Well, her dad's English, her mom has Scottish and Welsh roots. So a bit of a mix there. But, the acting life wasn't always glamorous. They apparently had some financial struggles.
Really? Even with both parents working?
Yeah, apparently her dad agreed to have a second child, Keira, only if her mom sold a script first.
Wow, that really puts the pressure on, doesn't it? Highlights the reality of it all.
It does. But despite that, Keira was, soaked in theater and ballet from a super young age because of her parents.
So it almost seems inevitable she'd catch the acting bug.
You'd think so. But there was another hurdle early on. At age 6, she was diagnosed with dyslexia.
Oh, right. That must have been challenging.
For sure. But her parents were really supportive, and she essentially overcame it by the time she was 11, though she said she's still a slow reader and can't really read aloud comfortably.
That resilience, though, overcoming something like that so young, it probably helped her later.
I'd imagine so. That kind of determination really showed early. She knew she wanted to be an actress from, incredibly young.
How young are we talking?
She got herself an agent at 6 years old.
6? That's... Wow, that's serious focus for a kid.
Isn't it? And it led to actual work commercials, small TV parts, things like Royal Celebration in 93, A Village Affair in 95, little bits and pieces.
And she did stage work too, right? Not just screen stuff.
Yeah, local amateur shows. She was even in a play her mom wrote, After Juliet. So really building that foundation.
Grounded experience.
Yeah.
Did she go to college or straight into acting?
She started A-levels, that's pre-university study in the UK at Esher College, but the acting work started picking up, so she left to focus on that full-time.
Made her choice early. Okay, so from these really determined beginnings, what was the first kind of a notable role?
Well, one of the really early ones, and it's kind of a fun bit of trivia, was a small part in Star Wars. Episode I, The Phantom Menace, that was 1999.
Oh yeah, who was she in that?
She played Sabe. Remember Padme Amidala's decoy handmaiden, played by Natalie Portman?
Ah, okay. Vaguely.
Well, here's the kicker. Keira and Natalie looked so similar back then.
Oh, I think I heard about this.
Yeah. Apparently, even their own mothers couldn't tell them apart when they were in full makeup and costume.
Get out. That's incredible.
And it gets better. All of Keira's lines in the film were actually dubbed over by Natalie Portman because the resemblance was just that strong.
That is wild. A literal double.
Wow.
Okay, so after Star Wars.
Her first, major role was probably in a Disney TV movie called Princess of Thieves in 2001. She played Robin Hood's daughter.
Okay, stepping up.
And it was quite physical. She had to train in archery, fencing, writing, showing that early commitment again.
She wasn't afraid of the physical stuff then.
Seems not. Then came The Hole, a thriller, also in 2001, broadening her range. And in 2002, she played Lara in the TV miniseries of Dr. Zhivago.
Oh, the classic story. How was that received?
Pretty positively. People started to really notice her talent then. And the same year, she did something completely different, played a pregnant drug addict in a film called Pure.
Wow, quite a shift. Showing versatility early on.
Definitely. But the real game changer, the one that properly broke her through, was also 2002.
Let me guess. Bend It Like Beckham.
You got it. Playing Jules, the football mad tomboy, that film was just huge.
It really was, wasn't it? A
And
proper word-of-mouth hit, especially in the UK and then the US.
massive box office success. Earned something like $76 million worldwide, which was huge for that kind of film back then. And she trained hard for it, 3 months of football practice.
And here's that fun fact we talked about. She wasn't convinced it would work, was she?
Not at all. She's actually said she was pretty skeptical. She told her friends she was off doing this, quote, girls' soccer movie that she thought probably wouldn't be very good.
Huh. Just goes to show, you never know what's going to connect with people.
Exactly. It's such a great reminder about, taking chances. Even the actors don't always know when they've got a hit on their hands.
Absolutely. So Bend It Like Beckham blows up.
Yeah.
Where does she go from there? Because that really put her on the map.
Big time. And it led directly into the next phase. We're talking 2003 to 2007. This is where things go absolutely global.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Bingo. In 2003, she's cast as Elizabeth Swann in The Curse of the Black Pearl.
A huge Disney blockbuster. How does she land that?
Well, the producers, Jerry Bruckheimer and Gore Verbinski, they apparently saw something in her, like a classic Hollywood quality.
Interesting. And was she prepared for the scale of it? The action?
Not entirely. She apparently thought she'd mostly be, sitting in carriages looking elegant.
Right. Period drama mode.
Yeah, but she ended up having to do quite a bit of stunt work. There's a story about her having to stand on a plank out over the water for 2 whole days.
Oh, man, that sounds rough. Commitment, though.
Definitely. And, despite having Johnny Depp, Orlando Bloom, a big budget, people weren't actually expecting pirates to be that big of a deal. There was skepticism about a pirate movie based on a theme park ride.
Yeah, I remember that. People thought it might flop.
Even Keira wasn't super optimistic, apparently, but
It was huge EE. Colossal. One of the biggest films of the year.
made over $650 million worldwide. Just launched her into a totally different league. Global stardom, practically overnight.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And 2003 was a busy year for her, wasn't it?
It was. She was also in Love, actually.
Ah, yes, Juliet. With the cue cards.
That's the one. Working with Emma Thompson, who she apparently idolized, some critics felt her part was maybe a bit thin, but the film itself, well, it's a Christmas staple now, isn't it?
Totally. Okay, so post Pirates in Love, actually.
2004, she does King Arthur, plays Guinevere.
Another historical, action-y role.
Yep, more training boxing this time, plus archery and writing again. She really wasn't shying away from the physical demands.
Clearly not.
Yeah.
What about 2000?
A couple of films then. The Jacket, which was a psychological thriller, and Domino, an action film based on a real bounty hunter.
How did those do?
Domino didn't get great reviews, to be honest, but The Jacket was okay. It showed she was still trying different things, different genres.
But 2005 also had a really big one for her, didn't it, critically speaking?
Oh, absolutely. Pride and Prejudice.
Playing Elizabeth Bennet, that must have been huge.
Massive, and she was brilliant in it, got nominated for a Golden Globe, and crucially, the Academy Award for Best Actress.
Wow, an Oscar nomination. At what age?
She was only 20.
20? That's incredible. That really cemented her as a serious actress, not just the girl from Pirates.
Totally. And the following year, 2006, she was invited to join the Academy, the people who vote for the Oscars, a big sign of respect from the industry.
Right, and the Pirates train kept rolling.
Oh, yeah. She came back as Elizabeth Swann for the sequels, Dead Man's Chest in 2006.
That one made even more money, didn't it?
Her biggest hit ever, financially. Made over $1 billion worldwide, just staggering numbers. And then, at World's End in 2007.
More sword fighting for her in those.
Yep. She really got stuck into the action for the sequels, embraced that side of Elizabeth.
So this period, it's just blockbuster after blockbuster, plus major awards recognition. Intense.
It's incredibly intense. But she also balanced it with more period dramas. In 2007, alongside At World's End, she also starred in Silk and Atonement.
Atonement, another critical darling. And that green dress.
Iconic, right. Silk didn't do so well, but Atonement was a huge success, critically and commercially. She got BAFTA and Golden Globe nominations for it. Powerful performance.
That dress is practically a character in itself. It really defined a moment. So after this whirlwind of massive fame, blockbusters, period pieces, what comes next? Did she change direction?
She kind of did, yeah. The next phase, say from 2008 to 2013, sees her leaning more towards independent films, and she started doing stage work, too, like a new chapter opening up.
Exploring different avenues. What was first?
2008, she did a wartime drama called The Edge of Love, played Vera Phillips. And this one was quite personal. She actually co-wrote the script with her mother.
Oh, wow. Writing as well.
Yeah. And she sang live in the film, too, which she apparently found pretty embarrassing at first, stepping out of the comfort zone.
Good for her.
Mm.
What else in '08?
The Duchess. She played Georgiana Cavendish, a real historical figure. Got a lot of critical acclaim for that. It really showed off her dramatic range.
Sounds like she was really hitting her stride with complex characters and the stage debut.
That was 2009 in London's West End. She was in a play called The Misanthrope.
How did that go? Theater can be tough.
She got nominated for an Olivier Award, which is like the biggest theater award in the UK. Huge recognition for her stage debut.
Very impressive. So film and theater running parallel now.
Exactly. 2010 saw a few films last night and London Boulevard, which got kind of mixed reviews, but also Never Let Me Go, which was generally better received. A sci-fi drama.
Keeping things varied. More theater.
Yep, back in the West End in 2011 with a revival of The Children's Hour. And film-wise that year, she did A Dangerous Method, directed by David Cronenberg.
Ooh, Cronenberg. Yeah. Intense stuff, usually.
It was. She played Sabina Spielrein, a real figure in the early days of psychoanalysis. Apparently, she did a ton of research for that role. Really immersed herself.
Dedication. What about 2012?
A couple of things. A quirky comedy drama called Seeking a Friend for the End of the World, and she reunited with Joe Wright, the director of Pride and Prejudice and Atonement, for Anna Karenina.
Another classic literary adaptation, high expectations there.
And she generally met them. Got more positive reviews for that portrayal.
And then 2013, wasn't there a musical film?
Begin Again, yeah. With Mark Ruffalo. She played a singer-songwriter.
How was her singing in that? I know she said she was embarrassed singing in Edge of Love.
Well, it's interesting. The director, John Carney, actually criticized her performance, including the singing, publicly later on.
Ouch. It's harsh.
It caused a bit of a stir. He did apologize afterwards, though. And Keira herself has kind of admitted music isn't really her thing, saying it never sinks in for her.
Honest, at least.
Yeah.
Shows everyone has areas they're less confident in, I suppose. Anything else notable around then?
She also popped up in a short fashion film by Karl Lagerfeld in 2013. Always keeping busy, trying new things.
Okay, we have covered so much ground already in this deep dive into Keira Knightley's journey. From that spelling mistake on her birth certificate to worldwide fame and then exploring indie films and the stage, it's quite the story.
It really is.
And if you listening are enjoying this adventure and want to uncover more fascinating stories like this one, definitely hit that subscribe button for Tell Me More Stories Told as Podcast. You won't want to miss what we dive into next. Okay, so let's pick up the trail again. Where did her career head after 2013?
Right, so moving into 2014 and beyond, she actually mentioned around this time wanting to move away from playing, as she put it, neurotic roles, looking for something different again.
A conscious shift. What came first?
2014, she was in the spy thriller Jack Ryan, Shadow Recruit, a more mainstream action kind of role.
Okay. And anything else that year?
Yes, Laggies, a romantic comedy which actually got pretty good reviews, showed off her lighter side again.
Balancing things out?
But the big one, the standout for 2014, was definitely The Imitation Game.
Playing Joan Clark opposite Benedict Cumberbatch's Alan Turing.
Exactly. And her performance was fantastic, really compelling as this brilliant mathematician who was so crucial to the code-breaking efforts.
And it brought more awards attention, didn't it?
It certainly did. Her second Academy Award nomination, another BAFTA nomination, and a third Golden Globe nomination. Huge critical success for her again.
Just reinforcing her dramatic credentials.
Yeah.
What came after that success?
2015, she was part of the big ensemble cast in Everest, the disaster movie, based on the true story. She played the wife of one of the mountaineers.
Right. And wasn't there a Broadway debut around then, too?
Yes. Also in 2015, she starred in Thérèse Raquin on Broadway, taking her stage career to the U.S.
A big step. How was 2016?
She was in another ensemble drama, Collateral Beauty. Unfortunately, that one didn't go down well with critics at all.
Can't win them all, I guess.
True. But then 2017 brought a little surprise for fans.
Let me guess. Elizabeth Swann rides again.
Just a cameo. But yes, she popped up briefly in Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. Apparently it was because the fans really wanted to see her back.
Shows the enduring love for that character.
Definitely. Then 2018 was another strong year. She starred as the French author Colette in the biopic Colette.
Oh, I heard great things about that one.
Yeah, she got widespread critical acclaim, really praised for her portrayal of this pioneering, complex woman.
And she received an honor that year, too, right?
She did. She was appointed an OBE officer of the Order of the British Empire for her services to drama and also to charity work. A major recognition.
Wow. OBE. Very prestigious. Anything else in 2018?
A bit of a change of pace. She played the Sugar Plum Fairy in Disney's The Nutcracker and the Four Realms. More fantasy, quite whimsical.
Keeping us guessing. What about more recent years?
Okay, 2019, she co-starred in The Aftermath, a post-WWII drama. And she also played Catherine Gunn, the whistleblower, in Official Secrets.
Ooh, a political thriller based on real events. Tackling timely stuff.
Exactly. And in 2020, she played feminist activist Sally Alexander in Misbehavior, about the protests at the 1970 Miss World contest.
Interesting historical moments she's exploring. Did the pandemic affect her work much?
It did seem to. She actually withdrew from an Apple TV Plus series called The Essex Serpent, citing childcare concerns during the pandemic, something many working parents could probably relate to.
Understandable. Did she stop working completely for a while?
Not entirely. In 2021, she starred in a dark holiday comedy called Silent Night, and she voiced the main character in an animated film, Charlotte.
And then she took a break.
Yeah, she took about a year off work after that, specifically to spend more time with her family. Prioritizing.
Good for her. When did she return?
2023, she starred as a reporter Loretta McLaughlin in Boston Strangler.
Based on the true crime story. Gritty stuff again.
Very much so. And most recently, in 2024, she led the Netflix thriller series Black Doves, playing a spy.
And that's been well received too.
Very. Nominated for a Critics' Choice Award and a Golden Globe for it. So yeah, her career is still very much evolving, still taking on these really interesting, often challenging roles.
It's fascinating to see that arc. Beyond the roles themselves, what about her sort of public image? How's she generally perceived?
Well, she's often described as, quite sensible, maybe a bit self-deprecating. Effortlessly beautiful is a phrase you hear a lot.
And she's definitely known for period dramas. It feels like her niche, almost.
It's certainly a big part of her filmography.
Yeah.
And playing strong female leads within those, and outside of them, too. People have even compared her to legends like Katharine Hepburn or Audrey Hepburn sometimes.
High praise.
It is. And she's seen as quite influential in British culture, often pops up on those sexiest women lists, too. So there's that side of the fame as well.
Right. And she's quite outspoken on certain issues, isn't she?
Very much so, particularly feminism. She famously posed topless for Interview magazine as a protest against the retouching and objectification of women's bodies.
I remember that. Made quite a statement.
Yeah. And she's involved with charities, too. Amnesty International, Oxfam, Comic Relief, the SMA Trust. She's traveled to Ethiopia and South Sudan for charity work. Really uses her platform.
And fashion, too. She seems connected to that world.
Definitely. She's been the face of Asprey, the luxury brand, Shiatsu Chen, Luxe Hair Care, and maybe most famously Chanel. She's been the face of their Coco Mademoiselle perfume for years and their fine jewelry.
Okay, so a multifaceted career and public life. What about her personal life? She keeps that quite private, doesn't she?
Very private, relatively speaking. She married musician James Wrighton. He was in the band Klaxons back in 2013.
Right. And they have children.
2 daughters. And related to that, she's been quite vocal about advocating for equal paternity leave and has talked about how expensive childcare is in England.
Using her voice on practical issues affecting families.
Exactly. And a key part of maintaining that privacy is she has absolutely no public social media profiles, a deliberate choice to protect her family.
Which is increasingly rare for someone that famous. Has she had issues with media intrusion?
Oh, yes. Back in the day, especially in the 2000s, there was intense media scrutiny about her appearance, particularly her weight. She actually won a libel case against the Daily Mail over suggestions she had an eating disorder.
Good for her for fighting back.
And she donated the damages she won to an eating disorder charity and another mental health charity. She's also unfortunately experienced harassment and stalking incidents, which must be terrifying.
Awful. That level of fame clearly comes with a dark side.
It really does. And she's been open about the toll it took. She took a break from acting back in 2006 and later revealed she'd had a mental breakdown around age 22.
Wow. Really? At the height of that pirate's fame?
Exactly. She was diagnosed with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, stemming from the sheer pressure and intensity of becoming famous so young and so fast. She even used hypnotherapy to manage panic attacks before red carpet events.
That's incredibly open of her to share. It puts a very human face on that kind of overwhelming fame.
It really does. And just as a final note on her personal views, she identifies as an atheist.
Okay, so we've covered this incredible journey, the early determination, the dyslexia, the surprise hit with Bend It Like Beckham.
The stratospheric rise with Pirates, the critical acclaim, the move into indie films and theater, the advocacy, the challenges of fame.
It's been quite the adventure tracking her story. From that nearly misspelt name to becoming this internationally recognized, respected actress, and OBE no less.
You really see how those early experiences, maybe even the struggles like dyslexia and those completely unexpected opportunities like a football film she wasn't sure about, all fed into where she is now.
Her dedication to the craft is undeniable, trying all these different roles, but also her willingness to speak out and how she's navigated the really intense pressures that came her way.
It leaves you thinking, doesn't it? This whole deep dive into Keira Knightley's life. It makes you wonder about our own lives. How do those small, maybe challenging, maybe unexpected moments, the things we might brush off at the time, actually end up shaping the bigger picture, the path we end up taking?
That's a really provocative thought to end on. What seemingly insignificant event today might be the key to something much bigger down the road. Definitely something to mull over.